Welcome to the 66th USHA Four-Wall National Handball Championships, live from Fridley, Minnesota at Lifetime Fitness. My name is Dave Vincent. Alongside David Fink for the women's finals, it's Katrina Casey from County Cork going up against one of her biggest foes over the last few years. Not the biggest, but one of them, Sienna Kareen.
These two played last Sunday, Dave, in Marina Park in Huntington Beach. That was three-wall, small ball, three-wall. Katrina Casey winning that in two lopsided games. But you remember, Dave, Katrina, the first lady to take a game off of Katrina Casey in women's Race for Aid play. That was the 2015 Women's Race for Aid NYAC in New York City, Central Park South, of course, Dave. And Katrina winning the first game and up big in the second game. Sienna made a big comeback and forced a tiebreaker. That was one of the best matches we saw up to that point on the women's Race for Aid. But Sienna still looking for that first victory against Katrina Casey. Hasn't yet notched one, but Dave, the only active players that do have a victory against Katrina Casey are Aisling Riley, and that's the end of the list.
Well, I was looking at the list, speaking of which, that list that you referenced just now. Over the last 6 years, it's been an Irish women's player that have won the four-wall. It's going to be 7 in a row because we have 2 Irish players here on the court right now. It goes back to 2010 when Aisling Riley really dominated the class in Texas. And then Fiona Shannon right here in Fridley, Minnesota, defeated fellow countryman Maria Daly in 2 straight. That was 2011. That was right here on this show court, in fact. And then a year later in in Fountain Valley, California at Los Cab, Aisling Riley defeated Irish woman Mariana Rush in 2 straight. And then Aisling did it again against Katrina Casey in a tiebreaker in Des Moines, Iowa. Katrina came back, though, was pretty strong, defeated Aisling Riley the year after right here in Minneapolis, and that one was that one that Aisling had that injury forfeited at 15-9 in game number 2. And then Katrina Casey did it again last year in Fountain Valley, California, Los Cab, against Aisling Riley again in another tiebreaker, 11-4. Here she's going up against Sienna Kareen, looking for a three-peat.
Well, it was Aisling Riley who had her three-peat disrupted by Katrina Casey in 2014, and now Katrina has a chance to pull off that hat trick here today if she can take down Sienna Kareen. Dave, who's 2 years her junior. It's pretty rare that Katrina is playing someone younger than her. Sienna's still 19 years of age.
And that is the first serve from Sienna.
And Dave, if you go back to last week, Katrina Casey has scored 23 straight points against Sienna Kareen. See how long that trend continues this morning, if at all.
Point. 1, serving 0. Foot fall.
I mentioned yesterday, Dave, that Katrina Casey, the best all-around player in the game when you think about big ball, 3-wall, big ball, 1-wall, small ball, 3-wall, small ball, 4-wall, and the big alley, all of which she's either number 1 or number 2 or 3. And Dave, Katrina has never lost a small ball, 3-wall match.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Only played in 2 tournaments, but they were 2 big ones, and she won them both.
And she's got big wins against future Hall of Famers in the process.
Hold on 1 moment, please. Zero, serving 1.
Referee had to flip his scorecard over. He got a little confused there. 0-1. Kareen is serving.
Second. Short.
Both these ladies, Dave, extremely competitive, and you know that. That's a double fault from Sienna.
1, serving 0.
Look at that beautiful leverage and whip from
2,
Katrina.
serving 0.
She just keeps her wrist so loose. She's able to just flick the ball with so much power.
It reminds me a lot of Luis Moreno with the way that she just floats to the ball and is able to hit it with power, or even maybe a Robbie McCarthy, and that ball hits a crack. And you know when you're playing in a final against somebody that you already recognize as being great, and they start hitting what I consider lucky shots, even though they seem to find those lucky shots more often. It's kind of crippling in a lot of ways. Of course, Dave, that's assuming you make it to a final.
And Dave, a quick start for Katrina and not a good start at all for Siana. And Dave, these two played last year in the Nationals in the semifinals.
Serving 0.
Katrina winning that in 2 close games, or excuse me, 2 competitive games. Scoreboard didn't reflect that, but it was about 21-11, 21-10. First error from Katrina Casey there.
0, serving 4.
Katrina Casey's opponents throughout this tournament averaging 5.5 points per game. Siana's opponents averaging exactly 10. There's late word that there will be a women's doubles exhibition coming up right after this, featuring Siana and her partner, Aoife McCarthy.
4, serving 0.
Excuse me, it's going to be Casey and McCarthy going up against Siana and Jessica Gawley.
Will that be on one of the backcourts?
It's going to be right here on the show court.
Wow.
And I guess there will be a lot of local collegiate women handball players in the crowd.
0, serving 4.
A lot of junior players watching this development process. And they will put on a show right before the men's doubles final.
That sounds exciting.
Gonna be.
Wish I could be a part of it.
You will be. Side out here.
4, serving 0.
How
Haven't prepared for that match,
I know how you have to do that. You might have to take the last 15 minutes off of this match.
I need a lot more time than that to prepare.
But let me ask you this. If we see the scoreboard go up 5-0, how happy do you think County Cork is right now with having Killian Carroll win the men's, and now you see Katrina Casey here with a very early lead, certainly hasn't won the title, but you know they're holding parties back home watching these live broadcasts. And then you have Shane Lowry in the U.S. Open doing what he's doing, and
Amazing.
Ireland just has to be absolutely happy, and his whole family's full of athletes.
Shane Lowry.
7,
Yeah,
serving
just saw
0.
that this morning on Fox TV. Happy Father's Day, by
Thank
the way.
you. Same to you. Happy Father's Day to my dad. I know it's in Pittsburgh watching.
8, serving 0.
Your dad has a vested interest on this match.
Has he?
In a lot of ways.
Oh.
We'll see who he's going to put versus one of the top women challenge.
Actually, that challenge ended at the 2013 Simple Green U.S. Open when he challenged Katrina Casey. You won't be seeing any more of those exhibition matches after that. I won't say the scores.
Okay, we're going to repeat. I got 2 people out judging me here on that serve. Katrina. Serve or short?
Katrina's not going to like that. She knows that there wasn't line judge lined up before, and now she has the referee's basically admitting there's 2 fans that have agreed that it was short. Casey's going to say, show me who the line judges are here.
I went by these 2 people back here. No, I haven't officially. Okay, can you be a liner? Marcus? No. Terry, be a liner? Okay, we got this gentleman and Terry.
Dave, I know you're surprised by this development.
No, not really.
Yeah. Didn't think
I
so.
wasn't
gonna be second
surprised
serve.
with Katrina's reaction either. She's saying, wait a second, I already know that there's no line judges. You can't just take fans' approval. But the right call was made, and I know you and I are all about the right call.
But that could be that drop of water there.
0,
Katrina would have been up
serving
7-0. Instead, she gives Siana a setup.
Well,
Our referee is off there by 3 points, I think.
Let
on
me
his
make
score.
the adjustment.
Okay.
0, serving 8.
only off by 2.
Ooh, nice hop.
And Dave, Siana finally
On
on
the
the
board.
scoreboard. Now, going back to last week, she'd been outscored 29-0.
1, serving 8.
Last 29 points played between these 2.
Well, I don't count last week. I know you love to pack your lunch and put down your little mat and eat on that results from those previous tournaments.
Serving 1.
This is a completely different environment with a different set of mindsets between the two. This is a part of a legacy.
I'll tell you, Dave, the mindset of both these ladies last week, not happy on Sunday afternoon. I mean, I don't know if you want to put down your mat and talk about that, but combined, they went 1-5 last week. Sienna called it the worst day in the history of Irish handball. Their only win came when they played each other, when Katrina defeated Sienna. All the rest were losses to Tanisha Grooms and Tracy Davis.
Serving 1.
And one of these ladies will be feeling just about the same.
Worse, probably.
Yeah. And Dave, we should say, as Katrina makes her second error in this first game, Sienna is on a U.S. tour right now that started in Vegas at the WPH Outdoor Vegas LTE stop. That was the first women's outdoor stop of this season.
Actually, I believe it started in Portland when she went to the Players' Championship and then just stayed here.
Right.
Let's do it again.
Ooh, no avoidable.
Sienna goes to Portland, finishes third, goes to Vegas and wins that stop, defeats Tanisha Grooms in a great tiebreaker there. I know you loved watching that match. And then, Dave, she traveled to San Francisco to LA where she played in the X-Fest. And now she's here in Minnesota with us.
She also went to the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Hit a handball out into the canyon. She said it went
10, serving 1.
over a kilometer down to the Colorado River.
I don't doubt it. She's a hard hitter.
Katrina, watch that front foot. 11, serving 1.
I contend that it's impossible for the line judge to call a foot fault from the ground level there. He would have to be up at least 2 steps above the court.
Serving 1.
Or above where he's standing.
Short ball. Second coming.
Dave, you played a lot of tournament handball, probably about as much as anyone over the last 20 years. Have you played a top player, and maybe the first or second time you played him, you did pretty well, and you felt like, you know, I can hang with this guy, and then the next time you play him, it's like they've got
12,
this,
serving 1.
this bullseye for you on your back, and they just come out and just kind of give it to you.
Yeah.
Give you the beating. I mean, and I feel
know
like
the psychological thing that goes on there, why that happens.
But it's in your mind as the underdog, you're thinking, I'm doing pretty well here. You know, maybe I took it to a tiebreaker. I played 2 good games, and then the next time you come out, it's just a whitewash.
Well, I think that's the kind of the core reason why we continue to keep playing handball, because it's sort of this false hope that always exists.
I called it good.
I'm thinking this morning as I wake up, I feel, you know, I recently had the microfracture, left ankle cartilage repair. Crutches just 2 weeks ago after the surgery was 6 months ago. A lot of complications with this left foot. But the last couple days, I feel literally 100%. I mean, I feel great. You saw me run down the hallway yesterday. It's because the food was being delivered.
Yeah.
2, serving 13.
And I thought, you know, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to work on my feet, my legs, and, you know, get back into tournament play before the season starts.
Again.
But it's sort of false hope. Y'all really know that the reason why I'm motivated is because I saw great handball yesterday.
2, serving 13.
And that's what's so amazing about this game.
But I mentioned that, Dave, because one of the first times Sienna played Katrina, or at least in a big match, was the finals in New York last year. And she did take Katrina to a tiebreaker, and since then has not really been competitive. I know that she played a really great game against Katrina in Portland, but then the second game was not close at all.
3.
Yeah, and I don't know why that would be that way, but I also believe that just because you go home and you say, I'm just that close, all I have to do is just play like I did,
14,
your opponent, who is the champion, goes home and says, I didn't play good, and I'm going to play harder this next time. I need to send a message.
Yeah.
And they always seem to do it.
I've been on the receiving end of a lot of those messages. not a good feeling. It kind of does the opposite of when you have the
3,
false hope,
serving 14.
and then it takes away all hope.
That's
Shot
Oh.
ball.
that's the humbling part of handball
Yeah.
that I can't
Second.
completely rationalize. Did you see that amazing left-handed
Yeah.
off-balance shot from Siana?
But Siana needs to step into more shots. She's falling backwards on too many of these shots, and you're not going to be competitive against Katrina if you're not stepping into the ball. You see that time now she stepped into 2 shots in a row. She's in control of this rally. She's got Katrina hitting off her back foot now. Let's see if she can capitalize. And Siana puts that one into the ground, Dave. Tough shot to
14,
hit
serving
standing
3.
straight up, going across your body into that left corner. And a lot of times you will see that ball dip into the ground first.
Gotta call
that
a
spot.
hinder.
Oh, and Katrina, Dave, has had 3 calls now go against her. You remember the first short call that was overruled by the fans,
14,
and now 2
serving
hinder
3.
calls. She won't say anything, Dave, but she knows when the wrong call is being made. Just a tough shot when you're falling backwards into the back wall,
15,
Dave.
serving
Sort of
3.
off your feet. Very hard to
Shot
make
ball.
solid contact.
Second coming.
What a perfect bounce pass from Katrina with her left hand cross
16,
court.
serving 3.
See those bright shoes that Siana is wearing right now in this match. She was having troubles
30.
with the ones that she was wearing yesterday, kind of sliding and just wasn't gripping right.
Timeout.
Also didn't have the funds necessarily to purchase any new shoes. And guess what happened? One of our buddies, one of our close friends, Gavin Buggy, went out and bought her a new pair of runners yesterday.
That's why he's one of the greatest guys in the sport.
And this is one of those, I'm buying this for you, and there's no payback.
No.
And that I like when that happens. This is for the betterment of the game. If you can't get around, let's help you get around.
Right.
And it's certainly not the shoes' fault, but Siana's playing one of the very best players to ever play the game, Katrina Casey. I know it's early in her career, but we've been on the court with pretty much all of them. And you've played mixed doubles, and you've played in tournaments. You've watched a lot of handball. How does Katrina Casey fare to you with her style of game? And if you're going to compare it to one of the male stars, who do you compare her closely to?
I would say probably a young Dave Chapman. The way she's able to anticipate and
1 minute.
use both hands so effectively, play offense and defense, and great retrieving ability and great ball control. And not really known for her power, just as Chapman wasn't, but definitely has the power when she needs it, just like he did.
Yeah, that's another thing that a lot of handball players, if you're going to ask them who's the most powerful, they wouldn't even consider saying Chapman's name. You wouldn't consider
Serve
saying
play,
Katrina's
Siana's got
name necessarily
service.
until you played
3, serving
that one
16.
point where they hit a laser that looked like it was 90 miles an hour. And then you say, wait, that's not what I ever thought they could do. I
Serving
played against
16.
Katrina one time where she was loading up with her left hand, hitting it just as hard as I would have said you played with anybody else on that day.
5,
And I
serving
thought,
16.
she has a lot of power, but she also has so much control, she doesn't need to use it all the time. And with real power, is Siana the most powerful striker in women's handball? It's such a deep question, it's impossible for you to answer.
Hinder.
Well, I thought it was just a
Hinder.
statement. Is she? You were making a. Well, I mean, you'd have to think of Aisling Riley, right?
I
She's a
do.
hard hitter.
5, serving
I
16.
think Aisling Riley off the back wall, probably the hardest hitter. Her right hand.
Bye-bye.
And that's off
Great volley.
Katrina's back foot, but she leverages.
16, serving 5.
You can still step into the ball even though you're hitting it off the back foot if you can get your momentum going forward after the shot. And
She hit her head.
Sienna is down now. Those runners may be with too much stick, Dave. And Dave, sometimes when you're used to playing with shoes that are slipping, and now you have a lot of grip, you may plant yourself anticipating a slide and your foot just sticks.
Right.
So, and I know you know about that, Dave.
And we were talking about those shoes just a little bit earlier. And now she's limping off the court here.
Well, this is a sprained ankle here, Dave.
15-minute.
Do we have that on replay? I'm going to try to see if we can replay that back.
Well, Sienna will have 15 minutes to come back into the court. Sometimes with these sprained ankles, Dave, you're better off just getting right in there, not letting it settle and swell. But that's just speculation. Think that it's a sprained ankle.
Well, it is difficult to tear a ligament in a handball court on
Dave,
one of those routine type things. But with me, yeah, I
Well,
can.
your good friend, Dave, from the Oregon area, Nick Flores, did tear a ligament playing handball just a few months ago. Saw him in a cast.
Watch this here.
So it can happen.
That's just a weird play. You know, we've seen that before. Did she actually touch the back wall with that ankle? Sometimes you step back and just clip it, and I've done that many times in the old days. And if we can look at that again, I know we're not going to be able to see it exactly perfect here.
Our men's national champion, Dave, one of the first on the scene.
That was just a strange play. Now that could be something more than an ankle. That could be just an Achilles, a calf snap.
I haven't heard of an athlete as young as Sienna
Me
snapping
neither.
their Achilles.
Me neither, but I don't see the ankle roll. I don't at all. There's no rolling at all. That looks like it's a knee. Dave, you said it was the ankle, but
Yeah.
we'll try to find somebody there locally who can give us an update. But I'm very confused on what I see there. I don't see the ankle actually flip over. I know what they look like when they roll. This looks like a knee issue.
Okay.
And if it's the knee, this is over with.
There goes your women's doubles exhibition, Dave. And it looks like she's got the shoe off, Dave, so that makes me think it is the ankle. I'm sticking to it. Do want to say hello, Dave, to our very good friend, Hall of Famer John Bike, who's going for Father of the Year. Flew into Denver, Dave, last night to see his daughter play in a soccer game to surprise her. And then he'll be on the next flight out to L.A. to watch his son play in an all-star baseball game. Same day.
Well, that's what
Both
happens when you
surprises.
marry an athlete. You have to deal with your kids who are also going to be athletes. As we see Sienna Nee Kareen here getting her ankle looked at by Dr. Ed Grossenbacher, who just won the 70-plus doubles alongside Vic DeLuzio, defeating Doug Clark and Vince Sanangelo in 2 straight earlier today. Vic DeLuzio coming in from Melbourne, Australia.
4 great guys in that court. Dr. Ed, an orthopedic surgeon. Can't have anyone better than Dr. Ed taking a look at the foot and ankle.
And Vic DeLuzio also winning his singles division.
Wow. And he wanted that one, Dave, Vic.
His doubles, the score there was 21-5, 21-5 against 2 Tucson, Arizona handball standouts, Doug Clark and Vince Sanangelo. And then in the 75 singles, in a tiebreaker, our doctor here lost 5-11 against Vic DeLuzio. And now we have a pretty big crowd here.
Where you see Tom Soap, the USHA rules director. I go to him, Dave, every time I need a rules question answered. He's one of the sharpest minds in the game when it comes to the rules. Or the sharpest, I should say. And now, Dave, Katrina could possibly win her second national title in 3 years on a forfeit.
Right.
I mean, that's
When
very
her
strange.
opponents both had 5 points. That's also strange.
Actually, I think it was 9. Aisling had forfeited with 9 in game number 2.
Maybe so, 15
This
to
is
9.
game number 1. 17
Now we're
to
wrapping
9.
that ankle here. And what happened was Katrina Casey was serving. Sienna went back, took a step with that left, and it just buckled. I didn't see the ankle flip over, and I was looking at it specifically, but something happened to Neat Kareen there, and she fell on her backside and was in pain. And we'll watch her here take a couple steps back, and this is in as slow as we can get it. It's weird. You don't see the ankle actually flip over, not from that position. And I thought maybe perhaps it was her knee, because I've seen things happen with the leg before where you don't see any strange movement, you know, with the leg buckling or it getting displaced in any way. But is this the new pair of shoes that she has?
Well, I think, Dave, what I said earlier was that when you're used to sliding around, you take that step and anticipate sliding 6 inches. And then when you put a new pair of shoes on, you're not sliding at all. So you take that step and you're just stuck. And now Katrina Stein trying to stay loose here. Don't believe that she's allowed to warm up with the young gentleman in there who does not have eye guards on. Good catch there from Mr. Sove. Wants to keep everyone safe. I'm a big proponent of that, Dave, as you know. Doesn't go as well at big ball tournaments as you might hope when you tell people that they need to be wearing eye guards. I mean, it's not well received.
Works well for me. I just say
really?
you're not playing. But thank you for the donation.
But what do you do with people that are at the park using your courts, not in your tournament, playing without eye guards on? Because they're not quite as receptive to those.
Just tell them that they're off the court.
Yeah, it goes well.
It goes well with me. Why does that? Do you have problems with it? Get off. Let's see if Neat Kareen can get in there and warm this up. We are in about minute number 8 here of that injury timeout.
You hate to see Sienna possibly do more damage to this ankle because, as you know, Dave, when you start favoring one leg or one ankle, a lot of times it's a recipe for disaster. And these sprained ankles, Dave, can linger for months. Any sprain can. Now, Sienna, Dave, like you said, still has 8 minutes remaining on this injury timeout, should she choose to use it.
Looks like she is going to put her gloves back on now and get back in the court. Referee is a gentleman. Going to open up that door for her as she gets into the court here and then give her her countdown on the clock. But why is that funny to you? I find that as a nice gesture. If you just tuned in, it was Katrina Casey serving the ball to Neat Kareen. The score was 16-15. Sienna went back. Very nice gesture there, and a round of applause from the crowd.
He's going to stay in there.
Sienna went back to hit that ball, and her left leg buckled. And the referee says, you know, you need to give the ball to her, let her warm up. Don't know if this goes against her 8 minutes or not. Should, but
No, this does.
it's also a gentleman move.
Yes, very much so.
I guess
Dave,
you find it.
chivalry is not dead.
I know you find it funny that men open up the door for women.
Yeah.
I know.
Send these items by mail and they always send it back. Nobody here. Nobody at this address.
It was also nice to see our men's champion, Killian Carroll.
Dude, what about our men's champion up very, very early on Sunday morning? I mean, a lot of guys may go out and celebrate, drink from their cup, you know, that they win, and he's here. He probably already got a workout in.
Well, we see the American players, even when they have a match,
9 minutes.
not even show up.
So you're going there.
So it is.
I like to keep it positive.
Okay, she's ready to roll.
Killian
All
Carroll
right,
is about as
Sienna.
positive as you can get.
Little high five
Katrina's
between
got
the
service.
two.
She obviously
But you
got
see,
the last point.
Katrina's not taking any
17,
chances. She
serving
stayed in the
5.
court and hit the ball around, even looking for people to hit with her to stay sharp. Now, Dave, that reminds me of
Doing all right.
the now suspended Maria Sharapova. Back in about 2004,
18,
played a young
serving
lady from
5.
France who sprained her ankle in the middle of the second set. Took about 15 or 20 minutes to have it taken care of, and Sharapova was out there serving and hitting the entire time. She took a lot of heat for that. I didn't understand why. I don't think Katrina's going to take any heat for staying warm. David, goes back to that competitiveness.
19, serving 5.
Don't see any ill effects right now of that ankle injury from Sienna through the first 2.5 rallies.
Well, if you remember Eric Show, when he was pitching and he gave up Pete
Point
Rose's
for first game, serving
hit
5.
that made him go past Ty Cobb, he sat on the mound and watched the festivities from there, and he got really criticized. He did the opposite.
Yeah.
He didn't keep throwing the ball to the catcher.
Service
He
out.
sat there and watched it. He said, I had the best seat in the house, but he really got sent through the media backwards.
5, serving point.
Say that it was disrespecting the game by sitting on the mound. And he said, well, you know, I'm going to sit here for like 20 minutes. I have the best seat.
Second.
Is that worse than high-fiving Mark McGuire on his way around the bases?
You know, these pro athletes are fans.
I just love those unwritten rules in baseball. If it weren't for those, I don't know why I'd even watch.
Nice
at
shot
that
right
shot.
there, and almost a re-kill from Sienna. That didn't happen.
Point, serving 5.
Score here is 20-5. This is game point,
This should do it.
and it
5
does.
minutes.
And we're going to take a 5-minute break. Sienna Nee Kareen at 5 points, returning the serve from Katrina
Katrina, you'll have
Casey when she
service.
had 16. Sprained her ankle, took an 8-minute injury time out, and came back in and saw Katrina play like she was already playing. She scored 6 straight points. We'll have game number 2. Hopefully that ankle can get stretched out and we can be brought to a tiebreaker. We'll find out next. It's the 66th USHA 4-Wall National Handball Championships right here at racefor8.com. We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. Our non-toxic, biodegradable, all-purpose cleaner works great for cleaning. Thank you. Non-toxic, biodegradable, Simple Green. It's great for cleaning.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Play your part in the circle of life. Take time to be a dad today. Visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. You can use it straight out of the bottle on Tough Grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make multiple bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. From kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Bring out the action hero in you. Fuel up right and get energized. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Spray straight from the bottle on heavy grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make up to 11 bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out, from kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
We are back into play here at the 66th USHA Four-Wall National Handball Championships, where Sienna Churraoin stepped back, flipped an ankle over. It was injured there, but it was late and probably already over with. Katrina Casey was up 15-5. She went on with 6 straight points to win game 1, 21-16. And now we are here in game number 2. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside David Fink. Here on Happy Father's Day Sunday. A lot of great Father's Day stuff here for us sports fans, to include the U.S. Open of Golf final coverage that they can get everything in
They
before.
will. Leaders tee off at 3:30 Eastern. That gives them just about 5 hours and 10 minutes to finish up. Playing in twosomes usually takes between 4 hours and 15 minutes and 4.5 hours, so should be plenty of time. And of course, no sudden death playoff at the U.S. Open, so if they do tie, we'll be watching 18 holes tomorrow.
Good volley.
And then after that, it'll be the NBA Finals between the Warriors and the Cavs of Cleveland in Golden State in Oakland there.
Everyone buzzing about that game, Dave. I like Cleveland tonight. I know you think I'm crazy.
I actually do. But then I find it odd that,
shot ball,
you know, every single game for the finals, all the insiders, all the fans, it's so lopsided that Golden State's going to win. And every time they lose, the fans and their fan base and their teammates and everybody says, well, they're going to get the next game. And then they lose. And it's eventually you have to just say, this is pretty evenly matched. They have both scored, Cleveland and the Warriors have scored 610 points apiece.
But yet no game has been decided by single digits.
Which is strange. I mean, I can't even imagine that happening.
5, serving 0.
We're at 5-0 here in game number 2. Katrina Casey looking for her third straight.
Appeal.
Going for a three-peat here. Fourth straight
Second
final
serve.
appearance for Katrina Casey. And when the last person to win a U.S. national that wasn't from Ireland, make a guess who it was.
Okay.
6, serving 0.
I'm going to say Megan Michilos, now Dornico, 2011.
No.
No, that was Fiona Shannon, 2011. Okay. Can I say Megan, 2010?
You could say that.
Okay, I'm going to say that.
That's not right. In 2010,
0,
it was
serving
Ashley Riley.
6.
No, it was Anna Engel, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Anna Kristoff, or Anna Engel, depending on how you look at it, in Los Cab in 2009, defeated Lisa Frazier-Gilmore 9 and 10 in 2 straight. They're two of the women's greatest players of all time
6,
playing in that
serving
tournament.
0.
And Katrina is rolling. And I talked to Anna a year or so back when the Nationals were in Minnesota, and she was able to play Katrina multiple times, only in doubles. And I said, just give me your thought. Where does she rank up there with, some of the best? And she said, she's the greatest of all time. I've never played anybody better than her.
7,
And I said, well,
serving
why don't you
0.
come back and give her a game? She said, I'm not coming back because of her.
Right.
I don't want to score 0.
Right.
And then right after that, on the Pro Tour, you saw Katrina just put a barrage of zeros on some of the top players in our game.
Yeah, you remember, Dave, Yvonne August, who's a former national champion, traveled all the way to New York just to play Katrina and only served one time in that match.
That was to
0,
start the match.
serving 7.
She lost, obviously, 21-0, 21-0, but that wasn't the only one.
No.
We've seen her put 0, at least in one game against Sandy Ng and Danielle Daskalakis. And
We
then,
saw her win a finals
7,
0-0.
serving 0.
which I
But we've
go
also
back a
seen
lot of
Paul
years.
Brady do that.
Beautiful shot there down the right wall from Casey. You
8,
have to be perfect,
serving
and you have
0.
to be in good shape if you're going to defeat her,
That's close.
because she does make high percentage shots, and she can ground and pound if she has to.
And there's the announcer's curse.
0,
Katrina with the
serving
air
8.
there. Not many airs, though, from Katrina Casey. In fact, that was just her 4th air in this match.
Eight, serving 0.
And Dave, at this point, if you're down 8-0, you're starting to think about not getting a donut. And you know what happens when you get a donut, Dave. I mean, it's great. You wake up with a
9,
big batch
serving
of
0.
donuts at your front door, but not for the right reason.
Sienna does look like she's moving pretty well here with
Timeout,
that
Sienna.
ankle.
I'm not
10-0.
seeing
Katrina's got service.
any proper movement.
This is game number 2. Casey takes game 1, 21-5. And including that 8-minute injury timeout, including a 5-minute break in between games and another timeout, this match has only lasted 35 minutes. I guess that's probably what you should see if you see a 21-5 score line and a 10-0 here in the second game score line.
Okay, Keith.
What a remarkable game yesterday between Killian Carroll and Paul Brady. And just looking at social media and all the comments, so very positive. Killian Carroll and I spoke yesterday, and he was very thankful.
15 seconds.
I told him, you might not have taken that win over Paul in Portland publicly the way that you should have, and rightly so is how I said it to him, but you have to accept this win. And Killian said to me, I'll accept this win over Paul with great pride. Thanks for the kind words again, Killian. And, you know, after talking to him and you know, live on the air, basically,
Resume
when
play.
he had that interview,
10, serving 0.
admitted that Paul Brady wasn't at his best, and he didn't feel like that was a real win over Paul Brady. But, yeah, he takes this one as a real win. And don't forget, Paul Brady almost lost the round earlier than that, and it would have been all Luis Moreno talk, and it would have been an epic final either way.
Right. And, Dave,
Birdie pass.
I was thinking yesterday when it got very close in that tiebreaker, Paul just won a very close
11,
tiebreaker yesterday.
serving 0.
Very difficult to just keep winning those close tiebreakers because really, if you're at 8-8 in the tiebreaker, the chances are 50-50.
Right.
It's hard to keep pulling off. And you heard Paul say, you know, I've lost 11-10 tiebreakers before. And it's true. You know, we've seen him in some of his losses lose these close tiebreakers. Mondo defeated him 11-7, I think, at the Players' Championship. Moreno beat him 11-9.
This should be put away. It isn't, though. This is the longest rally of this match. And, Dave, it all started with a short serve.
Want to appeal the
And
serve?
now Siana is going to appeal it, and the
Short
referee
serve.
knows it's short. So does Katrina.
11, serving
I mean,
0.
it was so short that you heard the referee go, ooh,
Short.
like I missed the call.
And now a double fault.
That's right.
After a 35-shot rally, both players knew
0
immediately that
serves
it was
11.
short. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Dave, but that was a long rally.
Katrina was completely faked out there on that power serve and still shifted over to the right and punched a return to the left,
11,
causing an
serve
error.
0.
If you don't believe us when we say that Katrina is able to drift over to a ball and look like it's so smooth, go watch Clyde Drexler play YouTube. They called him the Glide. And that's exactly what Katrina is. It's Katrina the Glide Casey. Should call her Silk.
And she just has Siana on a string right
Volley.
now.
$12, serving 0. Foot fault, front foot, Katrina. Second.
I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm sure on either social media, your own cell phone, and email, you
13,
received a
serving
lot
0.
of people talking about that match yesterday. I got a lot of private messages, even from folks like on our board of directors, even contact me. I know that's hard to believe, but saying how much of a gentleman Killian Carroll was and an ambassador to the game. Heard a lot of compliments
14, serving 0.
from some of the sponsors and those connected to the game pretty close.
You know, Dave, Killian Carroll is now our Players' Champion and National Champion simultaneously. Does that make him the Player of the Year thus far?
I would think so. And he only did not go to the Canadian Nationals because his future
15,
wife
serving 0.
had to graduate from college.
Oh, okay. Because I knew he was considering going there. But you'd have to think if he wins the U.S. Open, he is the Player of the Year. But even if he doesn't, maybe he still is. And things not going well here for Siana. And
16,
Dave,
serving
Katrina
0.
has no mercy, as you know. And Dave, I didn't want to have to say it, but Katrina did give Siana a donut last weekend in game number 2 at the X-Fest.
17, serving
Well,
0.
So this could be
It becomes a trend here, 17-0. If somebody as good as Siana gets a 0 off Katrina. In Portland, they put on one heck of a show. I want you to watch that video. I know you're playing your playoff match at the same time.
Gotta call a hinder. Hinder.
Oh,
well, Siana wasn't even going for that.
Siana gave up. Hinder being
Replay.
called more out of mercy. 17-0 here. That women's doubles exhibition may be in question now.
Dave, Katrina has now hit 17 kills in that right corner with her right hand. That doesn't include the other kill shots she's hit.
18,
down
serving
the middle
0.
and into the left corner. 17 with her right hand in that right corner.
Dr. Ed Grossenbacher got a hold of me and said it's a first-degree ankle sprain.
Which doesn't sound bad unless you
19,
have
serving
it.
0.
Having it playing handball is using every little ounce of that ankle. This is 19-0. A big setup here for Siana. Back to the roof.
And Dave, would this be the first time you can remember a 0 in a national singles final?
Pass.
I believe so. I really can't remember one.
Right.
Point for game and
We've
match,
seen
serving
4s
0.
and 3s, 2s, but
Uh-oh, she's got it. Service out. 0.
and Siana now will have a
Serving
chance
point.
to not be a part of the 0 club. And Siana puts that punch fist re-kill
Point for
attempt
game
into
and
the
match,
ground. It'll
serving
be
0.
Katrina's second chance to win her third
Short.
straight.
Thought it hit the line. They agree. Second serve.
There was a fist pump there, too, from Katrina.
Ooh. Thank you, ladies.
And there it is. Katrina Casey slapping the hands of Siana Neek, Kareen, and she gets that national championship trophy for the third straight year here in Minnesota, defeating one of her biggest foes, putting a 0 on her in game number 2 after defeating her 21-5 in game 1. There will be a presentation on the show court with Matthew Kruger. Came dressed for the occasion. Gonna get everybody onto that court, which isn't easy to do, and possibly just do it right here in front of the camera.
A virtuoso performance, Dave, from Katrina Casey, who took no prisoners and joined maybe an exclusive club. She might be the only member of a national champion to win their national championship in the pro division, not allowing 1 point.
Yesterday was entertaining.
Dave, you have to think 66 of these championships have been held. This is the 66. Maybe in one of those, somewhere decades ago, possibly, someone got a 0 in a
If
game.
you remember one, let us know. I don't see it at all as I look back on some of my scores. The lowest game I remember, Aisling Riley defeated Jennifer Schmidt 21-2 in Austin a few years ago. Jennifer Schmidt defeated Anna Engel in Fountain Valley 2006, 11-1 in a tiebreaker.
But that's a tiebreaker would be something
True.
different. I'm not counting a 0 in a tiebreaker.
I understand.
Okay.
I'm just
right.
telling you the things I remember. I know Vince Munoz beat Dave Chapman in 2001, 11-1 in a tiebreaker. I know that's still not what you're after.
I know, but it's interesting.
Paul Brady defeated Emmett Peixote 21-2 in 2014.
Yeah,
Game
I
number
remember
2.
that
was game 2.
Right.
Paul Brady defeating Dave Chapman in Fountain Valley 21-3 in game number 2. And that was 2009. Nadia Alvarado got defeated by Paul Brady. You and I have been talking about it all week in 2006, 21-2 in the game number 1, and then had that kind of cool comeback at the end. We thought we got little butterflies while doing that live broadcast. That was also in Fountain Valley. I don't know what it is about Fountain Valley. That's about it. I don't see any 0s in my mind's eye, at least going back into the late 80s. I have to have John Bike give us a call, as I know he will know. Waiting for this on-court presentation with our presenter, Matthew Kruger, who's also waiting for our winner, Katrina Casey, in the finals for 4 straight years, 3 in a row winning. The one that she dropped was in a breaker versus Aisling Riley. She looked really off in that tournament. watching this live continuous coverage here from the World Players of Handball. This live broadcast brought to you by Restoration Professionals with emergency services, carpet cleaning, and so much more. There's a lot of businesses, and this does happen more than you think, where there would be, let's say that their sprinklers went off inside overnight, or there was a small fire and their sprinklers went off, or there was damage because of a fire. And, you know, the things that happen at your own house, that could happen at a business. Well, Restoration Professionals come in and clean that all up, Dave. For example, we have the hottest 3 days here in Tucson, Arizona right now. I mean, the hottest. 115 yesterday, breaking an all-time record, and since they've been keeping records since the 1800s. But it breaks it by 4 degrees.
Could only play 4 sets yesterday. It was so hot.
This is how hot it is. It's so hot, it broke our air conditioner, and we have no air conditioning at home.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's why you've been seeing me at the office completely happy with all the air conditioning on. And it won't get fixed for at least a day or so. But this isn't about me. Restoration Professionals come in on those spur-of-the-moment deals, and they clean stuff up. They'll repaint, they'll refurbish, they'll clean up and get you back in to business. And they are one of the tournament sponsors along with Ward Services and the USHA. Let's go to the court here as Matthew Kruger is going to have the award presentation, and he has our microphone. We'll let him go ahead and give that presentation. He's a development director with the United States Handball Association. Here is Matthew Kruger with his presentation.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, first, congratulations, Katrina. That was a tremendous exhibition of handball you put on all week, especially today, and to close out your 3rd championship. You know, what's this mean? I know you're collecting world titles. You're going after. You're going after multiple championships. What does this 3rd one mean to you?
Yeah, it means an awful lot. I always enjoy coming to the US Nationals, and it's a prestigious tournament, definitely. And I'm delighted to get the win. It's obviously tainted a bit because Sienna's a good friend of mine, and I think she's a brilliant player, and that just shows. That's why I didn't let up, because I couldn't afford to let up. I was on top in the first game, and she came in and hit 2 or 3 crack serves down the left in a row, so I know she'll be back again, and she'll be stronger as a result, and it's always awful to see anyone get hurt on the court, so it's just a pity.
Yes, Sienna, thank you, and tremendous effort. I know you're a warrior to come back after that your injury and give it your all out there. But you did treat us to tremendous handball, so thank you. Our women's open runner-up, Sienna Churraoin. And the 2016 Women's Open champion, Katrina Casey.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
My name's a bit easier to say. Thank you.
Now I'll turn it over to Steve Johnson to present the checks with the trophy. Thank you.
I want to thank Matthew Kruger, Development Director with the United States Handball Association, giving that award presentation. Steve Johnson is one of the tournament organizers here, also with mantlebuzz.com, one of the promoters who helped put on this event, Fridley, Minnesota. Steve Johnson alongside the 2 women pros here in the finals, Katrina Casey winning first place for the 3rd straight year, and Sienna taking 2nd place. Katrina says it was a little tainted, although she was up 15-5 when that ankle injury took place, and she was really dominating. I do see what she's saying about her being a close friend. They have won championships together on the same court, but it is still a great win nonetheless, as you see Duxie Walsh getting a picture there with our champion, Katrina Casey. We're going to take a break. We'll have more handball action right around the corner with the United States Handball Association's 66th USHA 4-Wall National Championships here in Fridley, Minnesota at Lifetime Fitness. My name is Dave Vincent. Alongside Dave Fink, we'll have more next at race48.com.